Good late evening, everybody. Welcome back to another vlog and another video. I'm not going to make this tonight's vlog or video real long because it's getting late, and I work one other day, and I work one other day tomorrow, 10 to 4:30. But what I thought I'd bring you all in on tonight. So in a couple of my videos I did last week, I had told you how starting this year is going to be kind of a big change for how try and go about working out, going to stuff like Buffalo Bills games. Now that my dad's to the point where after he had his knee surgery well over a year ago, almost a year and a half ago, now it's to the point where the fact that his phlebitis kind of conditions, the surgery didn't quite, again, like I told you, the knee surgery he had gotten well over a year ago, almost a year and a half ago, made a little bit of a difference in the phlebitis conditions that he's had, but didn't quite clear all the but didn't quite didn't quite did, did, didn't quite did, didn't quite clear all the way and stuff. So again, he can't handle. Again, he's to the point where can't handle going up going up and going up go, 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 going up going up going up going up going up and down 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 so many stairs or steps and stuff throughout the entire stadium and stuff. And in one vlog and video I ended up doing late in the day yesterday, soon before dark and stuff yesterday, later on last night, later in the day yesterday, I had told you how I kind of had been imposing on the fact that the place that I had done Darien Lake with end of June, again, like I told you, the name Scarlet Maple, how they've kind of been in the market for doing the Bills versus Eagles game, the final Sunday of next month, the final Sunday of October, Sunday, October 27th, and how kind of let self kind of give them a buzz a few different times in the past week and a half, in the past couple of weeks, including yesterday, and now it's kind of to the point where we've kind of taken it a little bit too far with that. And so from here on out, to we're to the point where we've kind of agreed that we really can't be bugging them so much about such stuff like that so much, and how nothing says that it can't be done or worked out, but it's in best interest for right now to kind of like leave it alone for like a week, maybe a couple of weeks, then kind of follow up on it as it gets at least a bit closer, seeing where we stand in a little bit, but just not keeping on bugging them so much about it ourselves. It did sort of kind of push some of the people that work there away. I don't know if necessarily push some of the people that work there away, so much, but it just kind of, got people a little bit concerned a little bit. And sometimes all you can do is trust that things can fall into place, fall fall, fall into play, and that things can somehow, most of the time, for the most part, can come together eventually. But that, there's no use getting too excited about. There's no use getting too excited about, a situation or something that, what is going to take some time, you know, with trying to have come together. So basically, and I was definitely thinking about doing vlog and video on this earlier today on the way home from work today. Now, I'm not shutting the door on this. I'm not going to definitely close the door on trying to work out, stuff like continuing going to the Bills games and stuff, continuing to go to the Buffalo Bills games and seeing if anything perhaps could happen this year in this season. Again, knowing chances are pretty slim. Chances are pretty slim on that as of now. We'll see where that all goes as the rest of the 20 as the rest of the 20 as the rest of the as the rest of the 20 as the rest of the 20 as the rest of the 2019 NFL football season goes on and stuff, but it was just a little something that was making me think about perhaps maybe just skipping it for this year. But again, I'm not shutting the door. I'm not shutting the door on that yet. Well, I wouldn't say yet. I'm not shutting the door on it though. Period. I'm not saying that I'm gonna plan on closing the door on seeing if anything could be worked out some point this NFL football season, knowing that again right now chances are pretty slim on that as of now. But I mean, again, like a lot of people have said, I understand, Alex. It's your first year in your first NFL football season, dealing with the fact that, it's kind of time to just get used to seeing about working out, going to the Buffalo Bills games in another way, in another way. And so soon after I had gotten home from work, and I kind of, ended up giving my uncle a buzz and stuff, and we were talking a little bit about the situation and stuff, and how he had said, he said, I can understand, Alex, you've been doing this for a lot of years now. You've been doing it, and he had said, and then he had then said, quote, you've been doing it, you've been doing it since you were in high school. You've been doing it since you were in high school. The fact of the matter is, you've been doing it that way since you were in high school. The fact of the matter is, bottom line is, though, the other side has to do what's best for them. And sometimes you're just going to have to kind of try to get used to seeking out and looking into and seeking out other resources for continuing to go to the Bills games that may seem a bit more that probably, I'm sure, are going to be a bit more challenging. And I understand, and then he had then said, quote, and I understand it's your first year and your first NFL football season, having yourself to the point of being in that situation from here on out. Just got to try to get used to seeing and looking into and finding other resources for stuff like going to the Buffalo Bills games and stuff that, again, probably will take a good bit more effort. But, don't feel like you have to close the door or shut the door on trying to work stuff like that out. It's just, these ways and resources that you may find are probably going to be a good bit more challenging when it comes to going to the Buffalo Bills games, and probably going to take a good bit more work, and said, again, no reason to close the door, shut the door on it at this point in time. At this point right now, we're really no reason to close the door or shut the door on trying to work out continuing going to the Buffalo Bills games. But I think it's in your best interest for now. And then he had then said, I think it's in your best interest for now, Alex, to just kind of leave it alone for maybe like a week, or probably more so like a couple weeks, then follow up, in maybe like week and a half, probably more like a couple weeks, and see where you stand after that. He said, again, I understand it's your first year and your first NFL football season, being at that point of having to find and try and seek out other resources for going to the other resource 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 other resources other resources for other resources for trying to continue going to the Buffalo Bills games that once more are going to probably be a good bit more challenging and probably are going to take a good bit more effort. Probably aren't going to be any guarantees right offhand till you go further along each time. It's going to be challenging from here on out. But nothing says you can't do what you can to continue to try to continue to do what you can to hopefully continue to work that stuff out, with continuing to go to the Buffalo Bills games somehow, one way or another somehow. But, and then, last thing, then in another situation when I heard people talking about a similar situation prior where people, like it was a situation where well, I'm not going to go into stuff too much or detail too much on this, but it was a situation where it was a tow truck towing company from a show on the Weather Channel. Maybe you may have an idea what I'm talking about, and where it started out taking place in British Columbia. Then competition came in, and then that was to the point where they were forced to try moving not all their entire fleet, but at least half of their fleet to another part of the area that was about at least 14 hours, maybe 15 hours away. And their head driver and head operator had just said, I've been doing this for so many years. And then the top man and owner of the entire tow trucking company had said, quote, "You've been doing it ever since your teenage years, since you were 16. The fact of the matter is, the bottom line is, though, we have to go where the work is. We have to go where we can feed our families, and that just really ain't here right now." What do you think people did when they moved from Europe to Canada, or Canada to United States? Left everything they had. And again, with the Buffalo Bills game situation, like my uncle had said, you know, as far as going to the Buffalo Bills games the way you've been doing it these past several years, in all these years, you've been doing it since you were in high school. The fact of the matter is, the reality is, bottom line is though, the other side's got to do what's best for them, and if they really don't have the strength to deal with going up and down so many steps or stairs, you know, then sometimes the other side's just kind of the other side's kind of just got to cut it off pretty much, and then, you know, just got to get used to seeking out other resources that, again, once more, be more challenging, take a little bit more effort, but you know, it shall work out eventually. And then, you know, like somebody asks, quote, what do you think people did when they had to put what do you think people did when they had to put you know, when they've had to put other certain traditions that they have been doing for a long time down? The way I look at it is, left everything they had, or just kind of pretty much just kind of, you know, left everything they had and just kind of, you know, just kind of had it be a thing of the past. You know, I'm not sure however else, what other way to think of it would be. One last thing, I don't know if this blog's going to get cut off soon. I don't know how much of my storage space I filled up yet. But another thing too, it seems, you know, that I've tended to take certain people for granted and stuff here. But a good bit of those people are to the point where they're getting old enough to the point where it's kind of time to put certain things down. You know, and it's just kind of time to kind of, you know, try and separate self from stuff like that. So, you know, the past several years, typical like Thanksgiving has usually been on my dad's side, kind of stepmom's side, more so dad's side. Typical Christmas has been mostly on mom's side, sort of stepdad's side, more so mom's side, you know. And as far as our plans for a week from next Monday, we'll still follow through with doing our plans for our traditional fall Western New York tour, doing one other time of 9 holes of golf at Terrio's golf course, then grabbing a little bite to eat and stuff at place out in center of Batavia, over right near Batavia Downs racetrack and resort that's got my name written all over it, Alex's Place. Maybe some of you have heard of it. And then doing brief pit stop to US side of Niagara for a little while. It's just that sometimes things get to the point where you just feel like you're kind of taking certain people for granted more at a certain stage in life than you really probably should, really, and than you probably really should be at a certain stage in life, you know. And you know, so right now we're kind of at the moment where things are just kind of, you know, or well, I'm not sure about this or that and stuff, and even things may just kind of not feel right, or maybe you feel like you're just kind of, you know, taking advantage of such situations, or kind of bringing certain situations a little bit too far, you know. I guess in some other situations, there's over the years, I've tended to kind of act like a person who seems kind of like, you can't help getting the results you want in certain instances, but there still can be no guarantee. You know, this here being at a place where you kind of got to split the time between this person over here and that person over there, then that other person down there and stuff. You really got to split the time between a whole bunch of other people here. You know, again,